fucking day. All right, and welcome back to the Atlantic R6. How's everyone doing? I am joined here with Nix. Nix, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Had a nice day out in the sun, ready to cast some siege.
Oh yeah, we've been having some good weather out in the Midwest as well. It seems like just overall it's been pretty dang nice. But we got a pretty good matchup coming up for you guys tonight. It's gonna be Virginia Commonwealth versus James Madison. And Nix, I believe you have a little bit of insight into what we could possibly expect here. So feel free to elaborate. What do you think?
I'm fully expecting a James Madison slaughter today. VCU, I don't think they have the caliber of players and the caliber of IGL stinks. Sorry. To hang with James Madison, personally. Shadows is due for a big game. He had a rough game last night against VT, so he needs to bounce back off that. But yeah, I'm interested to see what we got for map bans coming up.
Yeah, and let's actually take a look at that, shall we? And it looks like for map one, VCU, that's going to be their pick starting off on border, followed up with JMU's pick of bank. And then we'll be going on to decider for club, to which I sing a little prayer for everyone here. Let's not bring this to game three, please. How many times have we seen that map? Too much. Am I right?
Too many times. But looking at these map bans, VCU picking border is not going to work out for them. I would say Bank and Border, JMU's two best maps in the pool. I mean, you picked into their second best, they picked into their first best. It's not looking good for VCU.
Yeah, that's certainly a scary dynamic when you're going second, then first, then an equalizer map. I mean, when you've got such a dramatic difference. I believe you said that, and correct me if I'm mistaken, JMU was eighth place in collegiate overall. What was that? What was that detail that you had?
According to OnPing, they are ranked 8 in the country at the moment for Collegiate Siege, and VCU is currently unranked. So that also factors into my decision.
Yeah, that's pretty striking to put it lightly. I mean, especially when you've got big hitter teams like Akron, and we've seen what they can do in similar standing, and you got JMU at eighth spot. Yeah, dangerous type of team. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe VCU has something crazy that no one is expecting. I'm not saying either which way what's going to happen. My lane has been for the longest time Midwest, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, there's always room for an upset, especially with, like you said, if JMU's just not really having or is having an off day, could be very well within the possibility. But from what you've explained so far, it doesn't seem very likely. But if I'm not mistaken, I do believe we are actually ready. So maybe we'll get to see a bit and piece of that in just a second.
Yeah, I believe we are getting sent into border now. Yes, we are. We are on the way. JMU opting to pick defense first, as is their right for their opponents picking the map.
Mm. I
What are
don't
you
think we're gonna.
looking?
Oh,
No, you
God.
got it. You got it. I was say, what are you looking to see get banned here?
Honestly, I really don't think we're going to see anything too spectacular here. Honestly, this is one of the maps where I would like to see, probably, as stupid as it sounds, just for the funnies, I'd like to see Tachanka banned, only because I see how everything slows to a crawl the second that Tachanka comes out to play. Of course, there's the Blackbeard ban. Not really surprised there. He's been quite oppressive. But yeah, I would love to see Tachanka banned, just so that way there's not a lot to slow down the raw gunfights. Especially, it opens the door for an archive rush, which I'm always for witnessing. But that's a fever dream. It's likely not going to happen. VCU coming out with a Damos ban, reasonable. I mean, he's pretty much the souped up jackal as of right now.
Yeah, adding on to that Tachanka point, I believe JMU does run Tachanka quite a bit on this map. That could just be last semester's news, but I know Jake Jarvis loves to get his hands on that Shmika launcher. But VCU opting to ban the Azami. I like that. People like to abuse Azami. I mess with it.
I mean, yeah, as long as you keep her anchored towards sight or anchored in a power position, you can span those all day long, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. Unless you got like a DMR or something, you can just keep spam firing it all freaking day. I guess that's an option too, or an LMG. But I mean, who wants to spend the whole time freaking busting Kiba barriers with ballistics? I know I wouldn't want to deal with that. And then, of course, JMU finishing it off with a Valkyrie ban. Very expected for a map like this. If you're not going to go for a first floor clear at all, you really do need to get rid of her. But this still leaves the opening for pulse, which I will say every single day of the week that he is severely underrated right now. I mean, the ability to see where the rotations are going, where players are moving, and all you got to do is just keep your head on a swivel. I mean, that's just too much utility passive, especially when you see how a lot of teams aren't really bringing intel on defense like they used to. I mean, you can even see that right here. The only real kind of intel that they have is pretty much Fenrir.
Yeah, sticking with that the gap hitter util, I'll call it. No Malusi being brought definitely could open up a doorway for VCU to potentially just walk up metal stairs, potentially just walk, maybe even in the armory. But yeah, I don't know. VCU's lineup, their op lineup is looking for a heavy CC take with the blitz potentially going to hop through that CC window. That is my read on it. What do you think, Piercing?
That sounds pretty realistic to me, and that's about what I would expect for a blitz. They could go for a fast first floor clear, but I don't think the intel is going to support that, considering no pulse on the board and pretty much nobody at the basement. You only have Blue Key with the Nitro in hand, and he's going to be playing above. So I think your theory is the most plausible. Going to go for aggressive push towards CCTV, but you still have to worry about security, and that's going to be the biggest halt of them all for going for a play like that. Though the drones do come out, and it does look like they're going to be tracking that security player. Getting Jarvis down first is going to be the step that VCU will need if they want to play CCT aggressively. And we're going to see Wobble, I'm not saying that first part, already sustaining a significant amount of damage, but does slap back, able to take PK-47 down. That's going to be the first pick of this first game coming out. Also, Shadow's taking a significant amount of damage. Does manage to fall back. Shop getting hit just a little bit as they start to get their push up. Hyden getting flushed out. That's going to be thanks to Show. FPS all the way from East Stairs hallway. Blue Key taking one as well. Picks coming out back and forth, but no major grounds gained on VCU other than office presence. Though this walk up in the fountain is actually proving quite dangerous, though no diffuser in hand, which is always going to be a choke point as Jarvis in security takes one, but Samda does catch the refrag. That is going to grant them access to grab diffuser in hand, especially when you have so much pressure mounting up from Shop and Wobble. Smoke going down as well. They could try to go for a walk up here. This is a lot of pressure for Shadows to try to deal with all on his own, down to half HP.
Yeah, Shadows is definitely going to walk through the smoke here. There he goes into Fountain, unbeknownst to the VCU players. Shop does get punished by it, but Aswabble is there for the refrag. Blue Key stuck in a 1v2. I would say almost a 1v1. You know, Wobble is on a sliver of HP, but he is still up.
Well, and they have intel on him, but keep in mind he still has a nitro in hand. But with the time remaining 53 seconds, there's a lot of time to bait that out. So this is not the most favorable odds for GMU unless he can time this well. Nitro goes out, and it only gets a little bit of damage onto Sam, though, which means it's going to be a full-on fight with intel in the favor of VCU. Holding that aggressive half angle, looking for the peak, does manage to get a little bit, but Wobble will take Blue Key down. And that's actually going to give VCU their first round.
Yeah, that was I'm gonna say a well adaptation by VCU. It originally looked like they wanted to go for that CC take. They saw the window was castle, they didn't really have any safe util to pop it, so they kind of flipped to an east office take. And you know, Asshole did find some great frags on east stairs, so that definitely helped the push. But I'd say just a well adaptation from them. JMU kind of got caught off guard.
Yeah, there was a pretty much once that office was under VCU's control, that's where things really started to get ugly. That
Yeah,
early on, you should not allow that kind of presence. I understand JMU wanted to go blood for blood there, but when you have a bad initial pick, losing your first player, and then following up to trade with a one player differential with office control, that is a losing equation for Border every single time. The key is always going to be to hold off full building control as much as humanly possible, unless it's a more extended clear, like from first floor, for example. But even then, you can still put the squeeze thanks to fast rotation options available with hatches, stairs, drops. There's a lot of options to kind of put the pinch out no matter where they go in. And I feel like JMU just didn't really go for that. VCU recognized that and decided to take the blood for blood push. Because if it gives them office control, that is by all means worth it with the time efficiency that they had in hand.
yeah. I want to point out this mirror facing into break room coming out from JMU. Aswell, I know him. He is a smart player. All it takes is one drone to identify that. He pops that castle, and PK is dead. He just dead to rights. He's gonna be caught off guard. He's gonna get cooked there. I don't agree with this player, unless VCU makes a misplay.
Yeah, this is really an aggressive setup. I mean, I like the idea, the utility to support that, but I mean, the second, like you said, that castle wall goes down or that mirror gets popped, because remember, Samda ran Twitch last round, and now she's playing it again. So, I mean, you're kind of playing into what they're already bringing in the first place. And when you already have a successful round, you're probably not going to change that much. So, this is extremely aggressive, like you were kind of disgusting. But so far, neither got to take it out. There it is. That's what I was waiting for. Was Samda to catch that? Does take that mirror down, and Samda picks up PK shortly
On
after.
the F2.
Not gonna pay off at all.
Oh, this guy is cooked. Hayden is going to be fighting for his life in this Canadian corner. But Shoff is misplaying a bit. Shadows will have support. It does not matter. Shoff will pull the blick out and will say, sit down, Hayden. C4 raining out from Shadows does a little bit of damage. Kriegsman is there for the trade. VCU is just walking down Jamie at this point.
Yeah, this is really big for VCU and a disaster for JMU. You cannot let a team get off this control this fast. This is a great attack coming out from them. And I mean, the intel game has been superb. Nice shot coming out from Jarvis. The feet shots coming out onto show FPS, but I don't think it'll be enough unless we can see a big pop-off coming in. But Samda shutting it down at just the last second. Big pushback, but still not enough.
No, Piercing, did you see that? The Mumbai, when the Mumbai was spraying the Twitch, he team killed his teammate in 90.
Oh, that's what that was. Yeah,
he team killed his teammate in 90, and then that allowed Samda to clean him up for the round win.
Oh,
there's no way.
That's insanely rough. Yeah, I mean, VCU is just having a killer on Armory, right? That's typically a gimme for, you know, the defense. But to lose office space like that, I get where JMU is coming from here. They tried to pivot into further entrenching building control, but that office is a threat, a big one. And to give it up 2 rounds in a row, that's already a bad look for GMU. That's a really bad start. So they are going to pivot over to first floor, but again, it doesn't matter what site you're on border, the problem still remains. You cannot let attackers gain crucial space like that. That is the biggest tail or a scale tipper of anything else. You lose that control, you're done. I don't care what the number advantage is. Unless you can cut off that power control, it's over. And yeah, JMU just got to stop backing themselves into a corner here and hold these key positions. Because right now, they're trying to go blood for blood, and they're losing. Big.
Yeah, I'm liking this setup here out of JMU. I do have to disagree with that reinforcement on the archives wall. I saw a ping come out from Hayden, so I do think that is a miss setup from JMU. You should keep that wall open, and you can contest archives and into Armory more freely. But yeah, moving on. JMU defending the bathroom site, running a little bit of a default setup with the mirror upstairs, accompanied by a Melusi and a mute.
I do wonder how Oryx is going to come into play on the border. We don't really see him played all that much in this current meta, and I would like to see how his ability to instantly jump up the second floor will disrupt things. Because remember, Office still is going to be the big area to control here, and his ability to just instantly come back on the second floor through hatches means that any kind of clear or denial, whether it's Dekebi, Nomad, whatever, is just going to be outright denied, which I think will be big here. And it does look like VCU is going to be going for a bit of a pinch coming in from Armory and Archives to start to push. And there's the entry from Argus, getting a nice shot on to Jarvis down. That's going to be initial clear. Samda going down. August now down, but not out. DBNO. And it's going to be a 1-for-1 so far, with August going to be revived thanks to Kriegsman. And that's going to give them Archives control. They still have to go for Office, but taking Shadows down is going to be a big step in the right direction. With Jarvis down, that roam potential is going to be gone. They're going to have to hold Office for dear life as they're still at a minute 20. Nitro goes out, doesn't connect. Here's the swing. Kriegsman going to take Hayden down. That's going to bring it 3-2. VCU at the advantage with the power position now in their hand. Phone calls available. This is a big situation for them with a minute remaining. They had to double down onto Office JMU, but they couldn't quite get it. VCU just had too good of a pinch there. And that pivot from Kriegsman, so good. Putting it to 53 seconds and all the time on vertical in the world. A great
Oh,
nitro coming out from Blue Key in the bathroom hatch. Takes 2 down. Kriegsman and August now out of the picture. And that alone swings the pendulum. Wobble now the last one alive. Going to the bathroom drop. Going to be looking to hunt one of these 2 players down. Has the ping. Now time to slice and dice with 35 seconds on the clock. Diffuser in hand. Takes a shot but runs into both at the same time as Blue Key takes it. Giving JMU their first round.
yeah, I mean, well played by JMU in the late round. Blue Key with the clutch C4 to get the 2-piece and put his team in a position to close the round out. I will say though, VCU did have a really good roam clear of the top floor. They took care of business. They took enough map space and efficiently enough to where they were able to set the execute up. Sadly, I'm sorry, Blue Key has a C4 and just ended their dreams. So that is
Yeah,
very unfortunate.
yeah, that was like a perfectly timed nitro. And also props to JMU for not staying split between workshop and small office. I always forget what that dang room or tellers. Jeez. I played Siege for how many years? Because that was a big choke point that I was seeing, right? Staying split like that, but lining up to have an additional set of eyes onto that bathroom rotate was big. Because I mean, if they won that gunfight, Wobble, that could have been a totally different story. But there's no denying the fact that fundamentally by the books, VCU played that right and had JMU on the run there. But unfortunately for them, that nitro coming out from Blue Key just pretty much threw all of that out the window. I mean, Siege is one of those games where all it takes is one perfectly timed opportunity and it flips the script entirely. So, I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I still think VCU is still overall playing this more consistently. And those kind of key moments or chokes that JMU is taking advantage of is not going to save them. I do like the clash though. I want to see where this
Yeah,
goes.
I will say JMU is not beating the Shield Crush allegations, pulling the Clash out already. I mean, on paper it's a good play, but like, come on, this is collegiate. We don't run Clash. You get shamed for doing this.
To
So
an extent, yeah.
he will be hearing about this from the group chat later. You best believe.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame them though. I mean, you're on defense and you're a round down. Both your losses have been from Armory, and then you're running it back again. Yeah, I can kind of see why. It's not the most ideal circumstances, but so far, I mean, minute down, and there's really not much control that VCU has at the moment. You do have Show, who was on the back for a brief moment, does back off, but so far JMU has done a pretty good job of denying VCU any immediate building presence, which is going to be critical for having a much better round when it comes to Armory and Archives. If they can keep this denial up without sacrificing numbers or going blood for blood, they'll be doing pretty dang well. And it does look like they're going to be mounting possibly to try to get some setup towards this balcony, but instead we're going to see that pivot over into security. PK just taking Show completely exposed there. Don't really know what that walk up was all about. But regardless, that's going to put it to a one-person disadvantage, as now you've got no shield going against the shield, and it's going to be Jarvis still running that clash. And so far, we're still seeing that VCU has not made a break into any significant space. Perfectly timed crouch from PK, taking Kriegsman down over from outside break room. And that's going to leave VCU quite splintered here in a 3v4 as Hayden goes down. Sam, they're going to clean that kill up. PK getting a triple kill. Nice shot on the Wobble. Takes a prone shot down on August. Well, sitting prone over towards the security desk. And that means Sam, there's going to be the last one alive with a clash at the helm. Oh, PK wants their ace. Is he going to get it? No! Oh, Sam, the so rude, shuts that down. 28 seconds on the clock. You're not going anywhere. It's a done deal. That's going to give SMU another round.
Yeah, I mean, well
Or
played.
JMU.
They played the Clash really well there, just denying the Monty's ability to walk in and take space. You know, with the new update, Clash does knock away the Monty shield, so you can't really run a shield against the Clash. You're just gonna hit a brick wall, and PK did capitalize on that, respectfully so. So JMU, great adaptation.
Yeah, and that was a big relief that they needed, right? Because if you're having to run both of the second floor sites or both of the first floor sites just to try to get something, I mean that's kind of the most contestable and doable situation for attackers. That's not turf that you want to stay if you can avoid it. But now we're going to see them going over to workshop and electrical. And so there's the problem that you're going to have a lot of walk-in opportunities. VCU knows this. They've got show on the blitz yet again. And oh, would you look at that, Knicks? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? What does
Um,
JMU have?
not a clash, I'll tell you that. Oh, they have the pulse. I mean,
Yes,
it
they
is
do.
Hayden. It is Hayden running the pulse, so he will self-destruct probably about a minute and a half into the round. So I don't really see much usability from him. But you know,
That's
they still
a
brought it.
shame. Yeah, any other player, and that would have been big intel. Because I mean, what's really nice about Pulse here is that VCU is running blitz, so we could very well see a vault in. You've got two smokes as well coming from him as well. That's certainly within the realm of possibility. So if you have someone who can spot that and call that out before it happens, that gives you a big edge as far as being able to roam and deny building presence without creating a weak point where they can just force in. But it doesn't look like they're going for that anyway. VCU making that starting push into CCT, going for that top clear like they usually do. But the question I have is, are they going to be able to maintain that same control that they got before? Which I do have to question. Shadow's going to take a significant amount of damage from Show. Does manage to get away, and considering the doc will be able to get a full heal. No cutoff there coming from VCU. And so now the push comes in as they do have hall control. They do have a little bit of building presence here.
Yeah, PK stationed inside of the fountain here. We'll have a lot of room to work with still. VCU hasn't really taken much of that top floor control yet. But as we know, attacking first floor bomb site, I forgot what workshop. I tend to see that the top floor kind of will just fall in a snap of the finger. It's that fast. So VCU has to work on their timing, but then again, it shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Oh
Who's
no,
that
and you
lodge?
got one in corner. You got the pings. That's going to be from Archives coming in from, I believe, PK. And they do take Jarvis down, but Wobble and Kriegs go down in turn. That's going to be a 3v3 as PK finally gets taken out. That is a 2-for-2. Nice vertical coming out from August to take Hayden down as well. I guess you were right. Minute of 30,
Yeah.
plus or minus 30 seconds, and he's out of the picture,
And no
which,
C4, no C4. He had a bulletproof actually, not even a C4.
ew,
Wait,
gross.
never mind. I think I'm losing my mind there. He probably had a C4, but yeah. Nonetheless, that top four falls in a snap of a finger. In a heartbeat, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Like when it's not your site, you're gonna have to eventually fall off of it. And JMU held that for way too long. You do still have one outside element off site. That's gonna be Shadows, but Blue Key is gonna be in some deep trouble. No nitro in hand. Gonna have to deal with that blitz push down or that drop. And there it is, exposing himself. Blue Key taking Samda. That's going to provide a little bit of a buffer. They're taking Show as well. This is big as VCU has just collapsed here. August does get the drop onto site. Doesn't have diffuser in hand, 15 seconds, and there comes Shadows to clean it up before building even a bit of a momentum for a comeback.
Yeah, VCU just kind of walked themselves into the blender. They didn't really drone that well. I don't think, and they kind of just. I mean, they kind of just cooked themselves there. Shot himself in the foot. JMU finding that opportunity to make some kills, make some plays, and ultimately closing the round out for themselves. So you love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at how that played out, and there was certainly not really an execute. It was more just like a put presence on the first floor, which is not really anything. But the other thing I'm kind of perplexed about is when you have a situation like that, right? Where you're not going to have two players on site. You know you're not. You're going to have one person. Why not either isolate that one person so you have a clean execute on site, or find one person who is on site where no matter where you sit, it is going to be far from ideal, easy to cut off, and take that. And VCU just didn't pursue any of those options, which gave JMU exactly what they needed. Again, by the books, VCU was doing everything right except for that execute. That I don't know what that was. That was just a complete tactical falter. But as far as like, beginning round, mid round, even a little bit of late round, everything's going by the books. They're just kind of flopping it at the end, and that's where JMU is really catching them out is the end rounds. But at the end of the day, if VCU cleans it up towards the end, I really think that this could easily be a 3-3 going into the second half. And
Wow.
wow, Blue Key getting very aggressive. That's going to be a peek onto East Stairs, taking out Samda, which is a pretty big loss if you look at the utility that VCU has. So no range soft destruction of utility available any longer. That's going to be quite a hit already this early on. And with Show being on Monty instead of Blitz, you're not going to get an aggressive hop in. None of that nonsense. Though there's still a bit of mystique to VCU as Jamie doesn't have the pulse this time around, hiding going to mute instead. So that is possibly an avenue that can be exploited, is going for more rotates. But regardless, this is still a change that doesn't favor VCU whatsoever, losing that soft breach potential.
Yeah, especially on your top frag Samda here. The scoreboard might not reflect it, but he is one of the better fraggers on this VCU team. So losing him is a big blunder. VCU, we're going for that East take. It kind of got halted. They are switching to the Army take as Schaff does take down Shadows, but it will be traded by PK47. What a sexy name. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. But Stinks will find the head of Blue Key. Even it's out to 3-3. That 3-3 is short lived.
Wow.
Hayden finds the head onto Stinks, gets a nice trade. Hayden trading with Mr. Wobble. Again, talk about great value there. Putting JMU in a 2v1.
Wow. I mean, by the books, he wasn't going to survive that. So, I mean, the response to that was perfect. Take the fight into Armory or Archives. Try to find one, maybe even slice and dice. Couldn't get that. I mean, the 1-for-1 headshot trade, it happens, though it's not the most common thing on Earth. But regardless, I mean, it still puts VCU at a one-person advantage. Getting caught out in the open in Armory when you have a player towards half wall, which you can almost always expect when you're pushing towards Armory, is a pretty steep disadvantage for VCU, especially when you're running down to the count. Again, they get that control, but it usually comes at big costs and them choking towards the end. And if JMU can bring that into a 4-2 situation, which is very possible with a person advantage and time loss due to grabbing diffuser, I think this spells trouble for VCU. I mean, maybe I'm misreading the attacker defender meta, but I do think this will pose a challenge for them. But now Kriesman looking to try to save this with 18 seconds remaining, does catch one over towards security, and Jarvis going to pop Kriesman before he even gets the chance to whip it around.
Yeah,
Screens.
a bit of a great round out of JMU there. Kind of feel like they're on the back foot for a second, but Hayden did anchor down that Armory, getting way more than his worth. Ultimately, I think VCU is staring down the barrel of the gun right now. They're down 2-4. I know JMU is really good at attacking this map. You're gonna see Jarvis on that Monty in a second. He's on the Thatcher. Hayden's on the Monty. My apologies. Well, here's what JMU's doing right now. They're just gonna walk Archives and they're just gonna play Archives. And Blue Key will be sitting in spawn, telling the bomb off for post plant. That's
Yeah.
the call. That's the call, Piercing. I've seen this way too many times. I know where this is
Mm-hmm.
going.
Oh yeah, I think audience knows very well too. I mean, this is pretty obvious signs. I mean, the Capitao smoke and fire off Archives. Glass obviously holding out Archives window. Hayden for the walk-in into Archives, right? Jarvis to disable any on-site utility, right? I mean, this is textbook Archives walk-in play. No ifs and or buts about it. And I just want to point something out, which is going to be a very big pain for VCU when they inevitably do this. But a little bit of a pain for JMU as well, as we're
Oh,
seeing a massive roster pivot, which I would say is appropriate, but it still looks like they're still going towards the same general angle of aggression. What does VCU not have in their secondary utility?
I'm gonna say potentially a bulletproof camera. Yeah, I am correct. No bulletproof camera from VCU will, and not even a Valkyrie. Valkyrie's banned. My
Whoa.
apologies, but
Okay. A lot of
that
aggression coming
is
from
that
both teams, though,
is
one
yeah,
for one.
1-for-1.
But no, what
Take Yeah, no bulletproof coming out from VCU could be detrimental as they just have no more info on where Jamie could be pushing from.
Well, there's that, and the other angle I was looking at is Nitro. If JMU tries to
Oh,
go for this walk-in, takes those Goyos down, it VCU has nothing to stop them. I mean, don't get me wrong, JMU did change the composition to where that kind of play style is not sustainable any longer, and that's going to be things to show on the Warden, who is still alive. So that does kind of put a
What
wrench
the
into
hell
it.
are you doing?
Oh, what on earth kind of clear is that? Shadow's walking straight into Kriegsman. Wobble taking PK
Let me
47.
let me tell you,
That
Piercing, that kind of clear is a typical Shadows clear. No drone, crunch walk into a choke point of the map and die. I
Yeah,
hate to
but
see
when
it.
you
You
don't have
hate
a
to see
follow
it.
up, yeah, that
I
is
hate to see
really
it.
rough. JMU now down to a 1v4. I mean, I understand the pivot because of the Warden, but this is not a good situation whatsoever. Blue Key not catching. Samda does take quite a bit of damage onto him, goes for the drop, and Samda's just not ready whatsoever. But Show right close to the trail to get that refrag, and that's going to give VCU another round. One round behind.
Yeah, personally, I went through this mini hell of playing James Madison on border with Monty up, and they ran that Monty down my throat. So I'm expecting to see this Monty come out very soon, if not this round, if not the next round, because I know they crutch it.
Well, I mean, when you bring Clash, that already kind of tells you a lot about what kind of
There it
composition you're
is.
seeing here.
There it is.
And yep, you're gonna be
Unethical
running
game,
into it.
unethical siege player Jake Jarvis. SMH. SMH. Yeah, we will be
Most
seeing this blitz probably picked off. Yeah, we already have. Oh, he's running them. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I know that Jarvis loves to run the Monty, so that's a
most
surprise
sane
to me.
siege composition.
Yeah. Yo, for those who
Hmm.
know, Blue Key running zero. If you know, you know, or was running zero at least. Some people will get that.
Yeah, that's definitely not on my repertoire of knowledge. But in any case, yeah, I mean, JMU just had a really rough attack. I mean, they pivoted hardcore in their composition, and it seemed like they had a really well defined plan, and then didn't really have a follow up in case they had to change it. Which I mean, you gotta
Oh,
be honest, right? If you're not
Piercing,
gonna get rid of Warden, you have to expect it.
can I spit some ball knowledge real quick? Where are they all spawned? Are they all spawned over there? Yes, they are. There's the Monty, there's the Ace. Jamie is just gonna walk into break room. They're gonna air jump off break room. They're gonna walk rafters. They're gonna walk down east, open that east wall up, and plant it right in the corner with the Monty. That is their whole game plan right here. Sorry,
JMU's
I
biggest
just
fan,
know
everybody.
I know all the JMU tricks, bro. I play with them a lot. They actually got this one from Kosa, an Akron guy.
Ooh, yeah, fair
This is
enough. But
this is
so
the
far,
Akron
that
attack strat.
yep, and this is already a big start as Jarvis is going to be able to catch Samda down. That's already one player off the books, and that's a big roamer out as well. When you lose someone like Vigil 40 seconds into the round, that is a massive setback, right? That could have been a potential disruption to JMU's plan, but now you don't have that rogue element whatsoever. Everyone, intel wise, is now on the books. I mean, you'd have no Mozzie, no Mute, nothing on the side of VCU. So JMU, as you say, can walk in and run this Akron down with pretty much nowhere near as much contest. But you've got Wobble holding close, waiting for that East Stairs walk up, doesn't spot anyone, does get caught out by the Monty. That's going to
I
be
don't
from
really.
Hayden, but still able to get away. Doesn't take any damage, just simply gets spotted out. And so we're still waiting for that bathroom archives drop, which so far it's been pretty slow from JMU. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
too fast at the moment.
Here we see them working down east stairs to get in a position to open this wall up, which they will ultimately walk in and just play it with the Monty, because that is honestly the right play right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, right now they have a massive buffer outside of the vertical that VCU has available. And that's where I have to wonder what's going to happen next. Oh, the drop comes in. PK47 picks up Kriegsman. That's going to be big in providing space to go for the fuser. And Hayden does look like he will be able to get the fuser down. There's a strat in full execution. Does spot one over towards waiting area. Can't really connect any shots. Tries to clear outside window. PK47 picks that up, takes Show down. Jarvis catching Wobble as well. And this is a really tough situation. Flash is going out. August all stuck in the corner and bathroom, and that's going to be a flawless round for JMU.
Yeah, perfectly executed on that bottom east take. Ah, yeah, I mean you can't really. It's super hard to defend that if you don't know what's coming, especially with a really small east presence, and that small east presence gets picked off within the first 20 seconds of the round. So VCU was kind of doomed from the start.
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially with that window cutoff, right? Any kind of rotation that you want to get in anticipation of that archive plant, you're not going to get it, right? So it means you have to go the long rotation, which just stalls time. It makes you less reactive. So, I mean, honestly, they cooked with that. They really did. Planned perfectly, right? The calm before the storm, and it gets ugly when it's already too late. And I think that is honestly what defines some of the best attack strats that you can see in Rainbow Six Siege is where when it gets aggressive, when it gets ugly, it's already too late. It wasn't a problem when the push starts. It was a problem when the setup was happening. That's what makes a really good attack. And it's why, as you get more and more experience into playing higher echelons of Siege, you have to focus on being more aggressive as a roamer. You have to focus on trying to disrupt that. Because if you ride the wave 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to be in your favor. It almost certainly will not. There's a proactive element that is mandated, and VCU did not catch the memo on that mandate.
No, they most certainly did not. JMU switching off the Monty crutch, opting to be more ethical gamers. But we do see a Blue Key back on the zero. This zero is gonna be really good for them here because you have 6 cams to cheat out, and it's super easy to watch all of the cams, and they're just all so useful. So JMU should have a lot of intel, and it should be great for them.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, already some of that paying off. I had spotting Sam to able to clear that and break room. That's going to be a big loss for VCU. No longer having an Oryx on the board. That rogue element, again, gone. We saw it happen with Vigil, and we saw it happen with Oryx now. You can't be losing this kind of mobility and intel denial. PK-47 taking show as well. That is not an ideal pick to try to take. I mean, you got a wider swing on the outside than you do on the inside. You're going to lose that fight 50, or I would say 55 out of 100 times. Shadow's picking up 2. That's going to be a brilliant clear from bottom middle stairs as they try to fall back. Again, the calm when it's already too late. Putting VCU on a very tight pinch with only 1 player remaining. Wobble and Workshop manages to take Shadows down. That's going to be the refrag, though the damage already done. And with a minute and 30 seconds, JMU has the space to do whatever they want at this point. And they're going to do just that. Blue Key now going for the plant close to the bathroom. Rotate, where Wobble has to make a choice. Go for that vertical. Try to contest those top players. Maybe go for a run out or fight it head on horizontal. Going to be going for that office clear. Looking for who's on the vertical. That's going to be Jarvis over in Fountain. I don't think he quite knows. Oh, but he figures it out at just the last second. Knows it's been too peaceful. Knows something's off. That's what you call game sense right there. Just the right time. That ain't Siege timing. That's good game sense.
Yeah, I was really good. Really great game sense coming out from Jarvis there. Amazing play by an amazing player. But I want to highlight Shadow's Burger Bernstein lurking on bottom middle there, or I mean into customs there, finding a pick bottom middle and finding pick on top middle too. As I believe it was Legion rotating down. That's a great. He's a great gap hitter. He's just so good at the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's clearly showing that so far. I mean, blistering performance up to this point and bringing it all the way to match points. This has been a pretty good steamroll coming in from JMU. I mean, ever since the half and the first round that VCU picked up, they haven't gotten anything ever since. It's why attack is so dangerous on border more than any other map. It is so easy once it clicks, right? Those team dynamics, right? First round for JMU, really, really rough. But then they got it together, and it was over after that. And I mean, it continues to be over. Dang near Jover at this point, with only 1 round to go, and VCU still lamb to the slaughter, struggling to really get much out of their defense, right? Getting swept up, and often facing compositions where they don't see aggression until it's too late. They gotta be proactive here. It's just not happening. And we do see they put a little bit of utility towards archives again, that Goyo to try to stall it. But JMU is not going to just walk in blindly into a Goyo. That's a fever dream for low T4, T5. That's not going to happen here. I would hope not anyway. I mean, I've seen bigger disasters than that. But I mean, you only have 1 Goyo. That's going to be burnt for 30 seconds. And then after that, what do you got there? Still, you do have a Nitro in hand. That's going to be from Samda, which certainly helps the situation. But you've also got Shadows for the offset, which is going to be big for JMU and a pretty nasty situation for VCU if they don't catch on to that. Playing below in a very powerful set of positions that he can alternate from, which really limits the options for rotating and trying to fight back against Archives. Because, I mean, look at how everyone is primed so far. JMU is ready to set this, even despite that Goyo. They don't care. They're going to go for it. And I think VCU is catching on to it, but will it be too little too late? And they do go for that walk and getting away pretty much unscathed. Impact's going down. Santa goes out. That's going to be thanks to PK47 on that glass. You mentioned that glass before. There it is in full swing. Shadow's taking Kriegsman as well. That's going to be that underplay that we were talking about before kicking in. And now we're seeing it again. That too little too late. Though, Wobble gets a little bit of pushback onto Shadows and JMU. That's going to bring it to 3-3. But you still have to deal with the Monty outside. And you still have to deal with Blue Key. However, Show tries to go for Diffuse. Fire goes off, get a little bit of damage, and it does look like he will try to go for the run out. Gets completely caught by Jarvis on a nice repel there. Watching for that. Takes another onto Wobble going for it as well. And now with 8 seconds to go, 3 players up on JMU. This is pretty much all but set in stone as Blue Key finishes off for JMU to take game 1.
Yeah, that was a great Capital play by Blue Key there, just firing up the bomb. It was Capital bullets out 15 seconds of burn, I believe. Waited till 30 seconds within the round, just kept shooting them. VCU had legit no chance at winning that. So, I mean, honestly, a great rush by JMU. You love to see that. PK47 running an illegal skin. That's really bad. The rulebook lawyer might have something to say about that. We'll see. But, Piercing, what
I'm
do you
not
think
gonna.
about that?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut because if there's one thing that doesn't tickle my funny bone the right way, it's dealing with a situation where the game just ended. There's a pretty significant round differential, and then calling a rule book to try to rerun it and see the same thing, which I'm going to be honest, that's exactly what's going to happen. So if it were up to me, kind of keep your mouth shut, you know? But
I'm just
even
messing around.
I know. It's all good, but
Cav will be hearing
regardless,
about
I
this.
mean, yeah, JMU still, I mean, played that just so well. Like they were a well-oiled machine, keeping it together and playing well coordinated, not trying to just do whatever. But also those setups, you kind of talked about it a bit as rounds were playing out, but those setups were so freaking good. They weren't just set up to just try to go for a push and hope for the best. It was set up in such a way that as long as they had the right keys accessible to them, there was nothing that could be done. And VCU played it quite reactively. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were able to get some nice picks, some nice shots in while it was happening, but the fundamentals of what makes some of those takes so unbeatable, those keys were untouched, never disrupted. Or at least if they were, I mean, the damage was already done. And how do you follow up with that after? And VCU just didn't have the firepower to be able to pick it up despite those setbacks when those keys kind of jangle a little bit. It didn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, no answers to JMU's pushes there. But I believe we have a break coming up, right, Piercing?
Yes, we do. After every game, we have a quick break. So, with that said, speaking of which, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wind down after a pretty blistering game 1, and then we'll move it on to the next one, which will be Bank. So, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't let the parasites suck it all out of your lungs. Don't let the parasympathetic go silently out. Who are you? While the sinking anesthetic is hollowing out, falls. Let the psychotomimetic whole shatter your light. Who are you?
All right, and we are back here with AtlanticR6, and we are getting ready for the second match where JMU took the win, and we're going on to map 2 now. Bank. Nix, do you want to give a little bit of a summary of kind of what we saw there on map 1 for Border for those who may have missed it?
We saw a lot of I'll start on the first half where JMU was defending. We saw VCU taking a lot of great map space, getting a lot of good map control, ultimately just dominating JMU in every form, and then it would hit that late round and JMU would make a hero play after hero play. And that would ultimately cause them to just win 4 rounds they shouldn't have won, most likely. But what we need to see from VCU this map is pressuring the early rounds and winning the late rounds because they're not winning the late rounds right now, and that is a big misplay from them. But Piercing, what are your thoughts?
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, if VCU doesn't stomp out JMU out the gate, they're going to run into problems. And this is going to be an even harder map to try to do that because this is a much bigger map. You're not going to get that many opportunities. And we saw VCU try to run like Vigil or Auric on their defense. But what happened every single time? They were dying way too early. A minute and a half of the round. Those operators are not strong early game. That is where they are the weakest. They are the strongest between 2 minutes and 1 minute. That is where they put out the most damage because you're getting ready to execute, you're setting up, and you have this rogue element in an unpredictable spot. That's where they're the most painful, and they're not getting that impact. But those are the kind of operators who can be the game changers, right? Because the dynamics on Bank, this is a very hard map to try to go rotating on. JMU is not going to be able to do that on the attack. And while we're kind of talking about the map dynamics, Monty and Damos band, we saw the blitz this time would be Monty from VCU. JMU was, or both of them were really bringing Shields out quite a bit. So kind of indifferential, kind of favors JMU as they like to bring out the blitz, as you kind of mentioned before. But back to the kind of the topic at hand, JMU is not going to have that opportunity to be able to rotate because this is not the map to do it. It's really freaking hard to. And if you rotate too far off, you start losing space that you previously fought for. And sometimes that can be too dearly, both in terms of time and in terms of if you have to retake that space. That's where operators like Oryx and Vigil become so important, right? But VCU hasn't been handling that well. So I would say this is the dynamic to keep an eye out for. JMU didn't like the Mira clearly when they had to, deal with it on VCU defending. So kind of interesting though, because we did see them on defense pulling it out in quite some aggressive ways. But then again, it didn't really work for them very well, as we saw in game one.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I kind of zoned out for a second. VCU, we're gonna flip the script here and talk about the round. VCU opting for the defense first. Will defend basement floor, looking to be a slight, probably a majority of an anchor coming out from there with the Cade, Smoke, and the Warden. Not to mention a Legion for a little bit of late round area denial. But yeah,
Oh, I would have to say that is a
what the heck is
missed
that Cade
call.
call?
Honestly, if JMU doesn't find it, I mean, that's kind of all that matters. But yeah, I mean, JMU is not really bringing a Thatcher or anything, so I
Yeah, that
mean, it
could be an
could
issue.
potentially work.
Well,
Yeah.
here's what JMU is gonna do. Actually, they're just gonna walk into server and they're just gonna put an Ursa shield down in sight. They're gonna both walls up, put an Ursa shield down in sight, and plant.
Well,
That's
right.
that's exactly what they're gonna do. That's
I
they
can
do this every time.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I mean, that's pretty standard. But the thing that kind of scares me when it comes to VCU is that they're still playing reactive, right? These are all very reactive operator choices. You don't really have a lot of proactivity to do with this. And the goal is to have at least one or two people roaming starting off to try to offset as much as you can. And as you correctly pointed out, they're already heavily present towards tunnel. But right now, VCU has nothing in their roster to be able to do that. Yes, you have Wobble and August on the roam. Samda's still playing quite aggressively to start towards the balcony, but if he gets caught out, that's going to be a pretty freaking big loss here. But either way, this roam, right? If they don't get the squeeze onto JMU and they're able to do what they want on top square, relatively uncontested, that's dangerous grounds, right? You want to hunker on favorable terms, and I just don't see their operator protect or picks really bringing that out for them, especially when they have no utility invested towards second floor. That's been the choke point for them while defending, and there's a very real possibility, considering they already have top square, for that to happen yet more.
Yeah, we do see PK. They're already taking the top square control, and Hayden will find the head of Stinkster. I assume playing either an open. That is inside actually. My apologies.
Yeah, that is already exactly what I was afraid of happening. And it already did. You still have one holding towards top main, and that's going to be Wobble. It doesn't look like. Oh, never mind. She's certainly been spotted at this point, thanks to the drone from Jarvis. Tries to shoot it out. That's going to force a fallback. A minute and 10 seconds has stalled the time a decent amount. Now it's going to be all up to Sam to stop this server room push. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty. JMU will get their setup, and it's going to hurt like hell. And they do still have the pings on the Wobble. And it looks like we could potentially see PK try to get that offset on main, which could be pretty big for JMU. Oh, the shotgun coming out. Sam, they're going to take blue key. That is going to even numbers down. That's Thermite now out. So no walls there. Going to be walking straight into a funnel. With 40 seconds to go, JMU really needs to speed this up here. This is really slow, and they don't have a lot to show for it. Lion scan going out. You've got one going towards parking lot. That's going to be Shadows. It seems like they're going to have to depend heavily on some kind of displacement because Sam picks up another. That's going to be PK-47. Gets aggressive, catches Jarvis as well. That's a triple kill, and that's their square completely collapsed. Show taken Hayden. Last one now going to be towards Dining. That's going to be Shadows having to fight against Samda. There's a swing. Takes a little bit of damage, but the long game, DMR wins every time. Doesn't matter, though. 6 seconds on the clock. VCU going to pick up this round quite cleanly, I would say, as they don't even really get down into the basement.
Yeah, we saw JMU originally try to just force that dirt server take, but smartly enough, they did off switch off it when they saw the warden and the smoke playing boosters and server, but they didn't really have the correct operator lineup to really do anything else. Maybe a vault rush, but like you're already too far committed to the dirt. You can't really audible to that. So that ultimately led them to just get cooked. They could not enter server. They could not enter above. They did get the opening pick on the Samda or on the Stinks. My apologies, but they just got brick walled when it came to time for taking server.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was really much of a plan there, which is kind of perplexing to me, considering that JMU, I could be misremembering, but this is their map, right?
This is JMU's map. Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
only been around, and the play they were trying to go for didn't work out, and their operators kind of got messed up. So I'll give them a pass here, but I don't want to see it again.
No, I certainly don't either, because it just seemed like they didn't really have a plan. And VCU, I mean, yes, their roam completely collapsed, but Sam or Stink, as you like to call him, really was the hero of that round, not giving up blue, because that was really the only thing separating VCU and JMU over a bloodbath, right? Was holding that blue, and they didn't really have anything to answer for it. They didn't push up tunnel. I mean, the parking offset failed. The main offset failed. They didn't really have anything going for them to try to displace blue or ease off pressure and servers to allow a pinch onto blue stairs in any meaningful way. So it ended up going from a risky gambit to one that was relatively safe, and VCU got to play it safe. But if JMU can turn it around and force a situation where VCU has to be the one to make the move, then I foresee that there will be a flow of rounds in favor of the attack coming forward. But we've got to see that initiative first, which that first round was not a good indicator of that, as August already taken Iden down. That's a really big blow, losing your Nomad. Already not off to a good start.
Yeah, that is pretty cooked as August or Stinks. His name is Stinks, by the way. He just changed his name to August because he's a little slow. But no, I can say that he's my friend. But yeah, Jarvis responding with a pick onto Kriegsman, putting JMU into a 4v3. I don't really know where the other kill came from. I was not paying much attention. But JMU up in the man advantage.
Yeah, they are at one person advantage, which is certainly a start, and they're right at the doorstep. This is a lot of presence for JMU, which is big, especially as Blue Key takes Samda down as well, bringing it 2 and 3. Right, this kind of pressure is exactly what JMU needed to establish here. That is going to make it really tough to get anything done as Show goes down after getting flashed out. It's going to be thanks to Shadows, bringing it 1 and 3. That is the kind of speed that JMU needs to bring forward as they cut off August from even getting back into the general site vicinity.
Yeah, I mean, just great play by Shadows, Burger Bernstein. They're repelling into sight and just cleaning up the round for JMU. I mean, that's how you play it there. That's the right play. Are we
Yeah.
paused or no? What's going on? No, we're not.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me for a second. I was gonna say no. I think my so let me give you a little bit of a story if you're paying attention to chat.
Let me pull
One of
chat
my
up.
coworkers has been threatening to find me on one of my streams, and I told him he was not going to find me on one of my streams. Well, it looks like he did.
He found
Going
you.
by the yeah, going by the fact that they said clean your room by my first name, which
Oh, he's
says,
talking to me, bro. He's talking to me.
wait, is your first name Nicholas as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. That's Neon's talking to me. Yo, what up,
Okay.
Neon? What up, Benny? Yo, F you,
Okay.
Jeffy. You sell my rank games.
I was gonna say, yeah, when I heard my first name, I'm like, oh, okay, it's cooked. My coworker found me. Nope, doesn't look like that's happened.
No, you're safe.
But yeah, I mean, either way, that was a great push coming out from JMU. Much faster. And it looks like they're doubling down on that with a very aggressive walk-in composition. Jarvis on the sense. You've got Shadows on
Rehost.
Amaru.
Oh my
Blue.
god.
Oh, yeah,
They
they
don't
got
know
you.
that you can just wait 30 seconds and you get kicked off the drone.
Yeah.
SMH.
I'm not surprised that they go for the rehost. And I mean, if they knew what was coming, like, I mean, that kind of just throws it away. So at least they still keep that, unpredictability. You don't want to run that when you're down a player. But I mean, they shouldn't be, but they might. They're watching the stream, then they kind of know
Yo,
regardless.
yo,
So it might be a risk.
real quick. Observer, you can host an East. Yeah, thank. Sorry. Nonetheless, here I'm expecting to see VCU cry about that rehost because it was during the round, but it is technically allowed as there is no damage or anything taken or dealt.
Mhm.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, nothing really happened that round. Yeah, it was a little bit after the action phase, but I mean, let's be honest, the first 15 seconds of the round is pretty much just an extension of the prep phase. Let's be honest here. Unless something stupid happens like a spawn peak or whatever, it's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be exactly what you expect. Nothing really happens. No changes, no loss of life, nothing really significant enough to impact it and say you have to run it. So we'll see that rehost coming right back in. But yeah, I really do wonder how this is going to come out this next round because I mean you saw the composition that was really aggressive, right? With the Ying, the Sense. I mean, you're pretty much stacking to run it down hard.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to rehost. But are we on webcams or are we still on the screen right now of the game? All right, cool. Sorry. Our end is a little scuffed right now. I can't see that. But we're good. We are chilling. And
Mhm.
do
So
you
I
think we have
guess
enough time for a break, piercing, or what are we thinking?
um yeah, let's end it on a quick break. We'll just kind of give everyone some breathing room. We had a big change coming in from JMU in their attack style. Cleaned out second floor in a pretty decisive victory. Kind of let that, simmer and see how they run it back onto first floor with that same kind of aggressive style. Because that's what I'm really looking forward to. Kind of let it soak in before it happens. So, yeah, we'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back as we get this rehost ready.
How did I get lost in my own orbit, revolving around the planet that no one else can find? I'm waiting.
All right, and we are back. Apologies for the delay. We just saw the calm before the storm for JMU with a very scary composition, and most likely VCU does not know what is going to be coming to them. Obviously, they still have to run staff room and open area. I don't believe anything is going to be changing as far as composition playstyle might change, though. If someone's been peeping the stream like they shouldn't be, wink, wink. But anyway, yeah, still running that very aggressive comp. Nothing changing in that regard. They do have one Nitro in hand. That's going to be from Mute August 10th. I have to wonder what that August 10th is. I wonder what that date is. But in any case, it does look like JMU is not waved off on still running that strat down. So I do look forward to
I
this.
will point out JMU is running to do their signature rush of mooring up the open hatch and planting in that corner. Though I have to point something out. JMU is not running the same ops as they were before the rehost. And that, I don't know if that's allowed or not. I'm not going to say anything, but is that allowed, Piercing? Do you know?
So I usually don't pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm gonna say, generally speaking, that is not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna message Cal here and see what's up with that.
Yeah. I mean, let the round play out as it stands right now, but there might be a forfeit or something in lieu of this. But regardless, keep in mind though, there was still not really any information between the two teams. No one really got anything off of each other. So, I mean, it's technically neutral ground, but regardless, we're now going to see that strat play out. And looks like JMU is getting ready to do that. You've got Sense in position. They're all the way in blue stairs. And then you've also got that player below as well. And it doesn't look like they know that this strat is coming. But then again, a lot of people know about this strat. Doesn't look like VCU knows about it as they're getting ready to run it. And there it goes. Everything coming up. PK-47 taking wobble. Now the plant going down. The Yin Candela is going off as well. And it looks like VCU is quite heavily disoriented as the plant does manage to go down. And now for phase 2, keeping VCU off. Show gonna take PK-47 down. That's gonna be a refrag, allowing for a bit of pushback. Still got a lot of presence towards basement as you have Sanda looking to find a way to get onto the diffuser. Blue Key taking Kreisman down. That's gonna be a big pick all the way from outside, having a line of sight onto diffuser for anyone who tries to walk up to attempt that counter diffuse. Sam taking a big amount of damage, but manages to catch Shadow. Show taking height down his turn as that's gonna put it to a 3v2, allowing for some potential to possibly try to counter diffuse. But you got one holding below the hatch. What?
Is he gonna
Jarvis?
wait? What?
Jarvis! What just happened? VCU diffused. Jarvis was looking at him. Did I see the same thing as you did, Nix?
Oh, you certainly did.
What?
What the heck? Just I thought he was playing it smart and waiting till like 2 seconds left on defuse to kill him, but now he just I really don't know what to tell you. I don't know what happened there.
That was
What?
certainly a moment of all time. That wow. I mean, I guess it could have been an angle thing. You know, maybe he just didn't really see him.
No,
mean-
he definitely knew. He definitely knew he's defusing. I don't know what he was doing.
That was certainly one of the most mind-numbing things I've ever seen. Usually I have an explanation for kind of those, you know, panic second hiccups, but I'm truly jaw dropped at that. That, by all accounts, JMU had that, but
What are these techie K calls? Oh my god, what?
yeah, Krigsman bringing it back again. I do kind of like the idea because if you have a Thatcher, they're gonna get they're gonna get shut down anyway. And this is, I can kind of, yeah, but then again, no. I mean, if you're dealing with a Thatcher, it's gonna get taken out regardless. If you're not dealing with a Thatcher, put it below. Yeah, this is kind of weird. It pretty much heavily depends on a push towards Parkway for that to be viable. And okay, Wobble taking Jarvis down very early on. That's going to be due to a very aggressive swing onto the outside from second floor. That's going to be already a player disadvantage. And we do see the Amari again. August taking PK-47. Man, JMU is just walking straight into VCU right now. That's 2 players already off the board. You got a roam clear and you've got your execute, you know, that wild card both off the table, off the jump. That is not good news for JMU on their attack, which should, in theory, be their strong point. Their map, they're better at attacking. What is going on here? Nix, what's happening right now? Because this is kind of perplexing how JMU is now kind of fumbling a bit after the rehost.
Yeah, I think that they're just chalked after the last round. Uh, I mean, yeah, and they just tried to have some aggressive early in this round, and it just did not pay off. You know, Jarvis Amaroing in got punished by Asswabble, and then PK just jumped in stock, and there's a guy like in stock with him, and he did not run it. He just got cooked.
Yeah, he most certainly did, but it does look like they're going to be reorganizing towards lobby area, trying to go for a bank drop, but you've got two people with eyes on that, and that's going to be Wobble and Kriegsman, both holding for that drop, which is going to make things particularly difficult. You still have Blue Key with flashes and Hayden on nades, so there is a bit of displacement to allow for a drop, but this is still a big funnel. JMU, this is their only option right now. You've got Samda on blue stairs, and you've got Show holding down on site with smokes, and you've got a Belusi on main stairs. This is pretty much only JMU's avenue right now, and there the drop goes. Kriegsman missing his shots as Shadow catches him out, and there's another. Shadow's getting a very nice shot onto Wobble. Whew, those are two crucial picks. The choke point now cleared, and they now have a line of sight into going for the diffuser. 40 seconds on the clock. This was a displacement that VCU did not want to have occur, but it did regardless. August still holding out in vault, and that could be a big walk up the displace as diffuser is now going down, but JMU's looking to push even further to try to sow the seeds of chaos. August trying to find someone through vault, going for that clear. Does manage to find Blue Key, and Show takes hiding down. That's a big pushback, but Shadows does manage to catch Show. This is still very doable. Taking a 4K onto Samda. Does she pull off the ace here? Just has to get August, and oh no! August with a 3K takes down
Stinks.
Shadows.
Stinks
Hiding
is
and
dead.
lurking.
Wow,
Man.
that was a
That
great
one
shot by
player-
Stinks. Great
Yeah.
shot.
Hiding in vault, and it does so much for them. Okay, I see there's a little bit of salt in all chat right now, but this is big for VCU. I mean, they're now 3 rounds. Worst case scenario, even split. Best case scenario, anything after here is a bonus. And I would still consider this attacker sided. So to be able to take anything after this is a big plus. JMU is really not pulling their weight on attack right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, that vault clear from Shadows was amazing, but it didn't do anything for them at the end of the day because JMU, the rest of their team, just completely crumbled. So I really don't know where they go from here. They got 2 rounds to go, but they're on their map, their ideal side, attacker meta favored map, and despite all of that, they're down 2 rounds. This is the time to call a timeout, don't you think, Nix?
See, normally I would say that, but in Collegiate Siege we don't believe in timeouts. We just let it ride.
Oh Lord.
Most of us have activities to do after this game. I know that Hayden has a really good hobby he likes to do. I'm not gonna say it on stream because I don't want to display his personal stuff, but he probably wants his game to end pretty fast so we get to it.
It's OnlyFans, isn't it?
Oh no.
I'm kidding.
No, nothing weird
Imagine-
like that. Nothing weird like that.
That would be so funny if you said yes.
He
I
actually
would've been
he actually
absolutely
curates on
bugged out.
OnlyFans. I subscribe to him.
Okay, I'm gonna move on
What?
from that.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah, so now it does look like they're going to be going for a bit of a top down. You still have one player over in lobby, and it looks like it's going to be geared towards trying to clear out Sam the here, who will be holding that position with those castles on the window default setup. They do manage to catch that vending deployable shield down early on. Great use of utility coming in from Shadows. I mean, it's a default setup, so why not break it apart? And this is the best chance for JMU to pick a comeback, right? The first time they ran this, I mean, sweeping, decisive win for them. Pretty good odds in their favor. And this is a default setup, which of all sites in Rainbow Six Siege, this is one of the worst sites to default on. It's not effective. It's not that good. You have to have something of your own spin on it. And it doesn't really look like VCU really has anything here, especially with how fast JMU is clearing this out. This default is not really that good at all. and it does look like they have the ping on 1 and ATM, but they do get spot, so it's going to be gun for gun. Samda taking quite a bit of damage out the jump. Shadows gets Kriegsman down. PK-47 low HP, but PK-47 has the gun up sooner, manages to take Samda down, and that is already going to be 2 players down, which is big in favor of JMU. However, August does take PK-47 down. That's going to be a refrag here. And so, with a player advantage and no or 2 nitros or 1 nitro still in hand, we're going to see actually they try to go for the plant very quickly, but Show will be the one to shut it down.
Wow.
Nitro going down. It's now immediately a 3v1 as JMU way pushed it too fast, and they completely fold with only Shadows, the last one remaining, waiting for in sight for someone to improperly clear and take that. Shadows does catch one, but it immediately refragged. VCU getting a decisive pushback despite the forced plant.
Yeah, crazy blunder coming out of JMU, not clearing that janitor closet. Azami just completely ruined the entire attack from them and just wallbang planner. Then Stinks followed up with a frag, and suddenly VCU is in a 3v4. Now they're in a 4v2 or a 3v2.
Yeah, that was a really big mistake trying to go for a plant like that. I mean, Janitors is specifically configured to deal with that. You didn't have anyone outside of Janitors. You had them all pushed towards desk. That's asking for disaster, right? You have to at least respect Janitors. You don't have to deal with it, per se. Displacement can be more than enough, just a little bit of pressure, but you have to respect that it's still a threat because it is the only room that has a direct line of sight onto that position. But JMU didn't have really anything lined up for that. And that's a big coordinated misstep from them, as you had VCU running a default. You should have seen that coming, but they just didn't. But I mean, good on VCU to not choke under the pressure. JMU, when they execute with quite heavy violence, and VCU held their ground quite consistently. Didn't give any unnecessary ones there. Everything was pretty much necessary and justified for preventing that plant. And when you have Janitors uncontested, yeah, you want to hold on to that, which is exactly what they did. And so now JMU, no matter what they do at this point, they're at a pretty steep disadvantage. This is not a good situation going into the second half, especially if they lose this round, which is very much possible as they're now in first floor. We saw them try to go for a rush here, and yeah, I don't want to talk about that round. That was insane. So now they're not going to be going for that rush. They're going to try to play it more standard, but standard against default hasn't done them any good. So, I mean, what do you think they're going to do here to try to at least bring it to a 4-2, Nix?
I know Jake Jarvis is going to shoot these zero cams, and they're going to be really effective for late round plays. Zero is an amazing operator. I love him picking that. But they're just going to go for a simple top-down take, and techie angle onto the shield with the Ash charge by Shadows. But yeah, they're just going to go for a top-down here and probably drop that stock hatch and just try to get a plant down.
I can certainly see them trying to force it here, especially with Hayden taking Samda. That's going to be a big start as now Warden's off the board. Flashes are going to be on the board and with full effect. Bluekey taking Wobble down as well. This is the start that JMU sorely needed here. But whether they get a setup, that's the other question. You still have Show holding in Janitor. And if they go for that clear, that's the big question. And wow, talk about an overswing coming from Show, exposing himself to both Hayden and I believe it was Jarvis, if I'm not mistaken. PK-47 getting Kriegsman out as well. This is a flawless round for JMU as VCU just walks in to them every single time. Now, I'm no CQB expert, but if you're cutting the pie, you don't cut that deep when you know they're pushing you in Hall. I mean, everything is kind of lined up and focused on you.
Yeah, I mean, I got no words. But I want to point out the trash talk by Stinks there. Absolutely love to see it. Calling someone terrible. My man. Spoken from the gospel.
Hey, I mean, it's that East Coast flair. Y'all got a little bit of something that we don't see over in the Midwest.
There's something in the water over here, let me tell you.
Y'all certainly get a little quirky over in all chat. I would love to see what your trash talk looks like. Holy moly. But With that being said, now on to the swap. VCU has a substantial advantage over JMU with 2 rounds to boot. And now at the defense, which is, like you said, not their strongest suit, this is easily going to be a strong opportunity for them to pull a complete flop instead of a 2-0 sweep as we were previously anticipating with how clean border was in JMU's favor. It's not every day that you see a team that is ranked number or 8th in the collegiate scene get flip-flopped like this. This is pretty unexpected. So I mean, we kind of talked about there's always room for upsets, and it's really in the territory right now, unless JMU can lock it out with some unparalleled aggression. We do see that deep hold from PK47 all the way into elevator. Possibly that could come into play as well with shadows on the support towards main stairs. I really do see a lot of aggression from JMU's composition right now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, I want to highlight the Oryx. Shadows are just going to be running around upstairs, and VCU's don't have to punish him if they want to, get any proper map control. As there will be shots raining on him, but he does fall down the janitor hatch. It's relatively safe. But yeah,
So
VCU
far,
has gonna.
yeah. I mean, yeah, not a whole lot of damage coming out. Jarvis going down, though, in turn. Sam, they're going to get picked off. That's going to be thanks to PK47 in that elevator power position. You got to respect it. And it does look like Jarvis will not be res, as Wobble will finish that out for a 4-4 early fallback as there's still 25 seconds to go into the 1 minute 30 seconds rule of thumb. This is a little bit of an early pushback, don't you think, for how aggressive the comp is?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, there's only a minute 40 left in the round, and they've basically given up the entire map. That is VCU. Know that or not? Probably not. I would give them like 40 more seconds to realize that. But speaking of the devil, there is shadows just walking up blue stairs into kitchen, going for a relatively rat play. I don't think VCU is fully aware. Actually, this Valkyrie, I mean, this Habana might have had the slightest idea, but will get shot down by shadows. And the smart play here would be to run back to site. But that's not what we're gonna see
Honest,
him do.
Honestly, I mean, you got a 1 player advantage, so why not keep it up? Wobble does take shadows, and now the time is brought under a minute 30. Now the timing is back into JMU's favor. Great play coming in from Shadows to stall that time even further. Take one in turn. Yes, it's still a 3-3, but you have delayed the time to just enough where it's in your favor. Usually you want to start having that basement presence, and right now, JMU has nothing to show for it. You still got Blue Key at full HP with smoke canisters. You've got Goyles that have been untouched, and it does look like they're going to be pushing in from vault side, which is exactly what JMU wants. When you got Blue Key holding that, smoking that off, already doing that. Goyles do get popped off preemptively, but I mean, that still leaves you very little time. So, not the most valuable break at the time that it does. But keep in mind, PK47 still at very low HP. An aggressive swing onto him, and you've got sight presence. I mean, look how far extended JMU is at the moment. If VCU splits this up, that can spell trouble. But PK47 and Hyden both able to pick 1 and 1, collapsing VCU before they even make the move into basement. The Legion giving it away, those goo mines, and PK47 to sweep it up for JMU to pick up their first defense round.
Yeah, I want to point out, well played by JMU, just kind of bunkering into sight there. At the end, I don't like them. I don't agree with them falling off early as they did. But at the end of the round, they played that really nice. They kind of just hunkered down and picked up their angles they want to hold, and they executed on their kills properly. So, well played.
Hmm. Yeah, certainly well held up from JMU. I mean, the fallback was a little bit of a misplay, but when you had Shadows come back up, perfectly done to stall the time. But yeah, I mean, VCU just kind of played that a little bit too slow. They didn't really have anything to pin down basement. That vault walk up was a bit bold, or the drop down, but you knew that wasn't going to go very well, right? When you're all kind of coming from the same direction. And it does look like we've got that pulse again. That's going to be coming from PK47 this time around. Still think it's not going to have much utility, or do you think now we might actually get to see some good intel coming in from it?
I would say he's gonna get some pretty good info from the. I mean, yeah, pretty good info from the Pulse. He will be playing, contrary to popular belief, he will be playing within the open area, I believe, trying to see for the a potential stock jump in. So I'm really interested to see if VCU, drones that and tries to clear him below. But from the looks of things, it appears that he's pretty well hidden inside that cubicle.
And it doesn't look like anyone has that information on him, which is pretty big if they go for a first floor clear. Free pick regardless, they go for the Nitro. And that's kind of the thing that makes Pulse different. He's not as vital as he would be on, say, Border. It's a much bigger map, and once you know where they're coming from, I mean, it's pretty obvious. So, I mean, you don't really need Pulse for that. But still, when Valkyrie is banned, which she is, you do get that option to Nitro from below, which otherwise would be quite tenuous to accomplish, with more of a coin toss, if anything else, whether or not it sticks. With except that coin is like 75% head, 25% tails, where 75% of it doesn't pay off. But with 2 Nitros on the board as well, that's from Blue Key. All it takes is a drop. Even more damage can potentially come in. But we do see heavy outside presence from VCU looking to try to clear this balcony. And it would be Shadows to take Samda down, pushing back against a repel. That is big, as it means that that wall will be open and elevators will feel no pressure to fall back whatsoever. That's going to be a problem. Do see the hop in. Hyden still takes Wobble despite having a blitz right on the tail. Takes some down as well. Does get refragged by August. But I mean, great read on that situation. You know there's going to be a gun behind the shield. Spots that out. Still manages to take blitz on the refrag attempt. And that is going to devastate VCU as far as their numbers go. You still have to deal with the elevator. That's going to be a problem. And you still have to get market, as there's no presence there and no one to capitalize on that pick. Dekebi's not going to be able to reach that anytime soon. And he's still got PK47 holding from below. And why would you give that up? This is a dream scenario for JMU.
Yeah, I mean, talking about dream scenario, Stinks Wolf on the head of PK, and suddenly it's only a 2v3. And I like to point out that it is Blue Key and Jarvis. Jarvis on 0 kills, Blue Key only on 3. Are 2 of the players left for JMU. So this is very winnable for Kliesman and Stinks.
Yeah, I think there is certainly a possibility, but they have to find a way to split this up, because trying to force it from top square is not going to be a play. This is one of the toughest angles to try to offset. Oh my gosh, the pre-fire actually takes someone? I would have just thought that would just expose position, but actually it manages to get Blue Key down. I don't think they know, but that is some
Here comes Jarvis.
big opportunity. Oh, but Shadows does manage to get the rev on the Blue Key, and Krigsman goes down as well. But here comes the swing coming in from August, and Blue Key, after getting revved, gonna be able to take him down as well. So unfortunate. That was looking potentially promising for VCU, but you kept holding that top square angle. It's not good for you.
Yeah, I want to highlight something that we missed there. Jarvis just walked out of Janitor and killed the top square guy really sneakily. I would say that was a great play. I gotta give props or props due.
Yep. And so, JMU still on the board. Had a steep disadvantage, but they've been able to bring it back. VCU has been unsuccessful in winning a single round so far. They struggled to get onto site once, and they struggled to do the same yet again. But this time, coming from just a failed push in market, which cost some big losses, as well as not being able to get any kind of setup. This is the aggression that we expect from JMU, and it is putting in the work in their favor. And so, VCU kind of has to cope with this situation and find some kind of way to turn this numbers game around. Because regardless, losing time, losing space, losing numbers, all equals an overwhelming losing situation, which is evidenced by the fact that JMU is on a winning streak. And it's thanks in big part to their playstyle and not letting VCU even get an initial round setup. And there it is again. Shadows spawn peeking on a wobble, taking down Twitch, which is a pretty big loss. Well, actually, no. Looking at the composition, it's actually not that big of a loss at all. But regardless, that's still going to put JMU at a player advantage, no matter how you try to spin it. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, PK following up on the kill of Samda. I mean, it's been 30 seconds and 2 of VCU guys are dead. I would say two of the better players, 2 from VCU, are just dead. You can't have that happening on the tertiary site.
No, I mean, this is one of the sites where you want to try to keep as many numbers up as possible, and that is just not happening. Show gonna spot PK47, can't get a single shot onto it despite going for the head. Very aggressive swing coming out, and PK47 will manage to take that, getting Show down, getting Kriegs in turn. The attempted refrag again failing for VCU as JMU keeps their gun up and flawlesses it out, getting a clean round to give them the lead. Aggressive initiative, aggressive results.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly what you need to do on that on a objective like open area. I mean you can't sit and let them push you. You got to take the fight to them. But VCU using a timeout, which is unheard of in the collegiate scene. So I wonder what they're
Well,
talking about right now.
I guess they don't have any homework going on at the moment for all you college students. Gosh, I don't envy any of you at all. I remember my time in college. I don't miss it even the remotest slightest bit. And yet here I am about to go back to college. But with that in mind, definitely the thing they're going to be talking about right now is how they are just failing their initial entry, getting absolutely shut down at every turn. That initial entry has been a choke point for 3 rounds now. 3 rounds they have gotten busted out on initial entry. Don't get me wrong, JMU knows they're gunfighting, but that doesn't mean you should be coming out with 2 people or even 3 people dead on an attempted refrag. You have got to lock in your pinches and your swings. You got to be tighter knit. Every single time we have seen VCU try to go for a refrag, they're in different rooms or they're too far away such that you don't have that immediate follow up, right? Rule of thumb, if you are swinging together, when your front gunman goes down, there should be like a half a second to 1 second follow up on the swing. I mean, it should just be like that. And it's not happening. JMU has so much space to be able to put the hurt where even if they get refragged, it doesn't matter. They stalled time, they stalled space, and they got a numbers advantage. These are horrible odds for gunfighting, right? Attackers have to gain space or gain something out of the engagement. This is where they're losing. They're not getting anything. It really is a numbers game, and VCU doesn't seem to have a firm grip on that. So I would hope that in that timeout, that is what they discuss. They have to play closer together. But so far, they're pretty far spread out. So if I were VCU fans, I'd be sweating bullets at the moment. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for VCU. As the old collegiate adage goes, attacking is hard, defending is easy. So that is definitely playing its part in this match. As we saw VCU win 4 defenses, and JMU is currently 3-0 in their defenses. So,
Hmm. And so with that, on to basement, we continue yet again. And 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it does look like VCU is going to be able to get a pretty much a free entry onto second floor and even lobby, as JMU is playing this way more reserved at the moment. You don't really see a lot of presence other than Jarvis. No, never mind. That was just a POV issue. I mean, you have everyone in basement at the moment, which I do have to say, this is where things get really juicy. If JMU is doing this intentionally to stall out time on a VCU and just keep their numbers, not have to do anything, they're doing a pretty dang good job. VCU is paranoid right now. And why wouldn't they be after the pounding that they have been subjected to? And so already 1 minute and 30 seconds, and JMU hasn't had to do a single thing. They didn't have to swing anyone, they didn't have to hold anywhere all that time. I mean, a little bit of setup, just to kind of give the perception of presence, which of course there is none. And they're already down to 1 minute and 13 seconds. That's a big advantage when you think about it. Being able to bring it down to 130, which usually involves a lot of bloodshed, a lot of fighting, a lot of contesting space, and you didn't have to do a single thing. That kind of psychological damage cannot be underestimated at all. And so 54 seconds, still, what do they have to show for it at this point? Only one hatch open. You've got Show going down main, trying to open up a line of sight. But again, there's nothing to show for it. When you have Goyo, Smoke, Tubarao, this is a big problem. You don't have a setup. JMU pretty much just played the perfect hand. They read the book onto VCU. They knew they were going to start hunting down their aggressiveness, and especially with that timeout. And instead, they just kick back and relax. No point in swinging to death. With 20 seconds to go, They really don't have a lot to show for it. However, Wobble does manage to pick Blue Key. PK-47 holding out into Garage, which is big for taking Sam to down. That's going to be the Hibana. Shadows does manage to catch Wobble. Kriegsman going down. Show. It's a big flush coming in from JMU as VCU really has nothing to show for it. And now it's too late, bringing JMU to match point.
Yeah, I mean,
Psyop real.
as you said, JMU's just played their hand perfectly. VCU was expecting that super aggressive roam, up in their face, up in the second floor. But JMU they just all sat in sight, and VCU took 2 minutes to clear an empty map. And I don't know what's going on right now. Appears to be Rios. So I'm gonna send us to break while we get the lobby back up. So we will see you guys back in a couple minutes.
Yep.
A place where I can fully be myself. Was building up a world that keeps me safe. How couldn't I see it really was a cage? Give me a little space. I've been thinking about you, how your voice shakes when you're lying, make everything about you, and I just be a smiling. But I'd still be here when we're in hard times, baby, just join in the fun. Running around, might lose my mind. The summer's only begun. I'll still be here when we're in hard times. Baby, just join in the fun. Running around, might lose my mind. The summer's only begun. Summer's only begun. Summer's only begun. Tell me, baby, son.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this barn burner between VCU and JMU. JMU currently, if you forgot from where we were 5 minutes ago, JMU is on match point. They will be opting to defend the top floor site. Piercing, what do you want to see from VCU this round?
Honestly, what I'd like to see is a much faster roam clear. That's honestly at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen. I understand why they played it slow. They kind of had to because of how aggressive JMU was going, but I mean, there was no evidence that they had any presence whatsoever, and they still played it so slow. I mean, the mental torment is clearly there, but you still have to keep a level head to the reality of the situation. The fact of the matter is that if VCU wasn't mentally locked out at the moment, they would have had a clear and easy round. They'd have seen, wait, they're all on site. Screw it. We don't need to do anything. Run in, get this setup going, push garage aggressively, push everything aggressively, and just systematically flush them out. And JMU would have been helpless to contest it, especially if they did their early round roaming, which showed little signs of presence even at that point, but it didn't happen. And so now you are on, looks to be second floor. So VCU, they just have to really watch out for any variations on the default, which so far it's pretty defaulty if you ask me. So, by all means, if VCU just plays their parts, right, they'll do fine. And already that's a big start. Sam, the catching shadows down, looking to get a peek out from the windows. That's not happening. VCU now doing a much better job on confirming their hold show with that Blackbeard, looking to catch someone over by janitors. That's going to be Jarvis. Nade going out. Goes to the swing by the window. Another nade going out. Looks like they might just go for an aggressive push in, and they do. Oh, but show no one's watching. Sam that does manage to catch Jarvis, but Diffuser is now out of their hands all the way deep into top square. However, we will see Ace now going for the diffuse as well. This is a very aggressive push, which is not like VCU whatsoever. And they do manage to get diffused down, but oh, not before Wobble and Kriesman get wiped in the retake from JMU. That's a huge player.
Wow.
PK taking Sam as well. August now the last one in the back of top square. Not in an ideal situation. Blue Key manages to bait the defuse. That's a perfect play to take August down. You don't have to commit. They say pros don't fake. Well, maybe they do just a little. JMU did anyway. And that is going to allow them to win it out.
Yeah, I mean, an insane retake by JMU there. I totally thought the round was cooked, but I mean, wow, I just got surprised. That was insane. But where we have it, contest is over. JMU has won 2-0 map score, winning border 7-2, bank 7-4. Really good showing from them. VCU, just too many minor mistakes that cost you the match there.
Yeah, it was certainly a rough situation for VCU. I mean, just that initial entry onslaught was a big problem. I mean, they were the ones with a strong initial entry on border, but bank is kind of a different beast, right? You can't just go blood for blood. It's too big of a map. And when you are that loose in your follow-ups or refrags, you're gonna get kicked in the nuts every single time, and they did. And it just caused them way too much problems. And so there you have it, right? JMU at the very end played the psychology game, and it's what was able to bring them out on top. But with that said, we do have an interview coming up, so stay tuned for that, and we'll get a scoop in some of those more moments that happened in this game and the last one. So we'll be right back.
And I don't know what we'll do as the daylight starts to sink in. I'd still be here when we're in hard times. Baby, just join in the fun. Running around, might lose my mind. Our summer's only begun. I'd still be here when we're in hard times. Running around, might lose my mind. Our summer's only begun. Summer's only begun. Summer's only begun. Am I breaking through? You feel me too. I still wanna run to you. Am I breaking through? You feel me too. I still wanna run to you. Am I breaking through? You feel me too. I still wanna run to you. Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through?
All right, and we are back, everyone, and I'm here with Blue Key and Hayden. So, firstly, I just want to say congratulations for the win. First
Thank you.
map, a little bit close. Second map was pretty clean, I will say. But first question that I kind of have to ask, and this is going into map one, or on border, we saw Office go down quite fast on your defense. If you don't mind me asking, what was the mentality in defending Armory and Archives? Usually, Office space is not secured that early on. So, what was kind of going on there?
On our defensive half, you said?
Yes, on your defensive half on border, Office was lost quite quickly, blood for blood, and VCU often ended up with control of that.
We like swinging stuff. I'm not gonna lie. It's fun to swing. And sometimes you lose those fights, and that just happens. And I'm gonna be honest, that's just how we play. And you know, it just happened to be that we didn't win those. And sometimes we're not used to that happening, and we just had to readjust.
Armand,
Gotcha.
I got a question for you, Blue Key. What did
Oh,
you have for dinner before the match today?
oh, dude, I had a nice pork chop, dude.
That
Oh,
that explains it right there.
I know it's not
Usually
very
I see
Yeah,
you in
go
the
on.
bottom of the leaderboard usually, Armand. I saw you in the
Oh,
top today, both maps.
damn,
So
bro.
I gotta know
Come
what you
on.
I gotta know what you ate, man. I need to
Dude,
eat
no,
some of that for game days.
it was a lot of tea and pork chops. You know,
I love
it's
You
it.
heard it here
crazy.
first, folks. Tea and pork chops.
The
I
big,
mean, he's cooking with the tea, though.
yeah, no, Earl Grey, number one.
Oh, I
Number
don't know.
one.
I'm more of a
Nope.
pomegranate kind of guy.
Boo.
Boo you. Get out of
Nuh-uh.
here. But with the next question in mind, and this is kind of just talking about Bank for just a quick second. On the attack, I hear you guys are pretty good on your attack, and I would say generally it's pretty true. But on Bank, that seemed to be a different story. In fact, it was a 4-2 split in VCU's favor. So, in your opinion, what kind of happened there? What was going right and what was going wrong? Because you guys had a pretty good showing for attack on map one.
It was honestly a lot of just small mistakes. And I know that's like kind of a cop out answer, but it genuinely was. Like just small drones, peeking stuff that we don't need to peek, or even just know. There was one too many times where we just needed a shred of more info and it would have played out completely differently. And
Yeah.
it just really hurts when that happens because we recognize it. And, you know, it's hard not to go for each other's throats when that happens. But I mean, that's just, it plays out like that. It sucks. And that's just really what happened.
And that makes sense because, and I might have it flip flop, but I believe it was you guys who were attacking basement on bank. There was one round you had Legion. I believe I can't remember who that was. Was it Shadows? I might be getting it kind of backwards
It was
here.
PK.
Yeah, you had PK all the way into vault, never got cleared as you guys pushed forward to go for defuse, and he pretty much wiped the floor on your execute. So yeah, I mean that sounds about right. Honestly, little mistakes. That one clear would have easily given you guys the round for sure, if you remember the
Yeah.
round I'm referencing.
I don't. I'm kind of not great with the noggin.
Oh, that's all right.
No,
A lot of
I
us
was too
tested our
locked in
noggin
trying to
hits.
get them down or something dumb like that. It tends to happen.
All right. Now we got a hot and spicy question for you, Blue Key. Nix, you take
I
this
wanna,
one away.
I want to ask Hayden this question.
Oh.
What was the thought process when Jake Jarvis stared at somebody defusing the bomb? You guys rushed up open and didn't shoot him. What was going on in the VC there?
Well, Jake was basically gonna wait like the timer out so that they had less like time to defuse and stuff, which I definitely agree with. But also, none of us told Armand that they were defusing, so Armand didn't even have the chance to also shoot at him. And also, I completely like whipped off somebody downstairs to kill Cam. So like,
Typical.
literally,
Damn, bro.
it was
That's my teammate, bro.
no, I'm just a 10-man's champ, but
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
there was a lot of things that just did not go well that round. So that was definitely not even like that was just like half of it. My mistake was the other half of it. And then obviously not telling Armand that they were defusing was like another big part of it.
Yeah, I had 80
Okay.
bullets just ready. Happens.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was like, what on earth is going on here? Because it's like you had a clear Jarvis had a clear line of sight. I'm like, are you gonna fire? What is happening? And then he died. I'm like, oh Lord, it's over. They really just lost that. So I was honestly in disbelief. So I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of the scoop because I knew it wasn't a gunfighting thing. Because I was looking at them, I'm like, based judging from the angles, definitely had the line of sight there. But if it's a comms thing and a coordination problem, I can certainly see that because that was certainly one of the mind blowers of the day for sure.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, but we did see a lot of or a good deal of trash talk in all chat during the round. So I'm gonna have to ask, um, where was the tension in that? Where was the love hate going on there? What
I
kind of
was told
spurred the moment?
I was told to not like Stinks, and I'm
Yeah, well
rocking with it.
said. Well said.
And personally, I'm team hate Stinks now. So
Yeah. All the homies hate Stinks.
real. That's just
That's
I
how
don't
it
hate
is.
anybody on that team. I don't have any beef with anybody.
No, I'm just kidding. Stinks is cool. He's funny. There's no beef.
Eh,
I know he's
oh,
a troll. He does a lot of trolling.
It's just fun to troll.
well, I mean, we did see a good amount of rat positions on Banks, so I mean, I guess that would explain it. But I'll pass it back to you, Nix.
I think that's all. That's it for our questions here. So I'll be sending us to the end show. Congratulations, JMU.
End show.
Thank you, Blue Key and Hayden, for joining us for our interview, and we will catch you guys later.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
All right. And then with that being said, that's going to be it for us here at Atlantic R6. So thank you to the viewers for watching this. It's because of you and all the teams participating, like what we have here with what am I doing? Okay. With like Blue Key and Hayden to make this all possible. Thank you to the staff for also making this possible. Shout out to Titanium Titan. And thank you to Nix for joining me here for tonight. But of course, as all things go, it's got to come to an end eventually. We're almost there to the weekends, folks. So hang just a little bit tight. For me, the weekend's going to be coming very soon. But regardless, that's going to be it from us. We're going to be heading out. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time.